All right, welcome back. This is Hope at Dawn, and it is time for us to have a look at the newspapers, see what is being reported.
Yep.
Some very hot story. Very hot story.
Yes.
Please take us through the Standard.
All right, starting with the Standard, the headline they are going with this morning: Mount Kenya, from Uhuru's frying pan to Ruto fire. Bed of thorns. At the height of their political wars and 2022 election campaigns, then DP William Ruto and allies accused then President Uhuru Kenyatta of many ills. But now, as head of state, Ruto is facing the very same accusations. It's a story you can read on page 4. And they have highlighted a number of issues and accusations that the current administration is facing as compared to the Uhuru regime. So the first one was the handshake. You remember the handshake between Uhuru and Raila.
Yes.
Due to 2018 deal between Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila Odinga, Ruto allies accused the former president of sucking up to the opposition chief. But Raila is now welcome in Ruto's state functions and even sits with visiting heads of state.
Wow.
Now, the coffee sector, Kenya Kwanza accused the Uhuru administration of running down the coffee sector due to what they claimed as family-related interests. Today, coffee farmers have no minimum guaranteed returns and debts are soaring, payments delayed, and Miraa and Mugoka farmers are facing bans. Demolitions. Former President Uhuru Kenyatta was accused of insensitivity and acting inhumanely during demolitions at Mukuru kwa Njenga slums on December 27, 2021. Now, the Ruto government is on the spot over demolition in Gikomba, Mathare, and Mukuru. Politics. The former president was accused of negating Yangu Kumi, ya Ruto Kumi mantra and working with Raila, thereby painting the Agikuyu as selfish and self-centered. There are hints that DP Rigathi Gachagua may not be an automatic running mate on 2027. There is also the issue of high cost of living. Ruto and allies accusing Uhuru of triggering the high cost of living as a result of Finance Bill 2018, which they claimed increased fuel prices. Kenyans are still complaining of high fuel costs and introduction of hefty taxes. You can read more on page 4.
All right.
I also see on the front page, widened tax net, Treasury told as Finance Bill faces resistance. Accountants body says failure to broaden the tax base has seen Kenya Revenue Authority consistently miss revenue targets while overburdening a small group of taxpayers. It's a story you can read on page 8. I also see HIV kits tender wars rock KEMSA Health Ministry. An MP accuses KEMSA and Health Ministry of flawed award of a multi-billion tender of HIV kits, but they both come out fighting. Kuna nini pale? Pages 2 and 3. To ban or not, why intoxicating Mogoka politics split leaders? And you can read that on page 6. Some county governors have actually banned the sale of the same in their respective counties. And the president has now convened a meeting of those leaders and the Agriculture Ministry and the farmers to see the way forward. I see Saudis to fund LPG gas plan. That is on page 20 inside the business section. So you can read that inside the Standard. And then I see Embu farmers now jump on cruising BT cotton bandwagon. They sell a kilo of grade A cotton at 72 shillings and should fetch even more if the projects take off. Read that on the pullout in Enterprise pullout, page 3. Collateral negative mindset locking youth out of farming. Report says failure by policymakers to fully exploit their potential has made agriculture unattractive and young people view it as career of last resort. All right, you can read that, the youth in business, that is what they are saying. Then I see tension escalates between Kwale and Taita over Makinon town. Taita Taveta County has implemented a court order which gave it the sole responsibility to collect revenue in Makinon Road and Mtito Andei. I also see universities set to drop unattractive courses in reforms. So this is public universities could lay off thousands of staff after President Ruto and Vice Chancellors agreed to do away with programs that do not attract students. The story you can read on page 19. In the world news segment, Parliament. Zuma's party guns for ANC strongholds in South Africa vote. Most South Africans vote today, but the elderly and infirm allowed to cast their ballots on Monday. Some opinion polls suggest that MK could win the most votes in KwaZulu-Natal. So that is in as far as the general election in South Africa. I see AU to engage media more in fostering peace. That is in as far as the world news is concerned. Let's go to the sports pages, the back page. Chebet eyes more history in Paris after world record show. New 10,000 meters world record holder flew back yesterday after her heroics in Eugene. World 5,000 meters silver medalist says she had no plan to break the world record. So you can read that on the back page of the Standard. Then I see Chelsea now turn to Leicester City boss Maresca. So Chelsea, they are in talks to appoint Leicester City manager Enzo Maresca as the replacement for Maurizio Pochettino. The Italian took charge of the Foxes in June 2023 and has just led them back to the Premier League by winning the championship at the first attempt. Maresca is a former assistant manager to Man City's Pep Guardiola. Real Madrid eyeing record 15th trophy before Mbappe arrival. La Liga champions are favourites to win Champions League trophy on Saturday. Record European champions will enjoy services of Le Bleu captain next season. I also see proud Kenyan girls now ready to take on the world. That is Kenya under 18 schools Football World Cup results. So Captain Vida Okeo says China's tournament gave them good exposure. The Kenyan girls bagged silver in their debut after battling host China in the final. So that is the sports pages inside the Standard.
Okay, and coming to the Daily Nation, of course, still a ripple effect of the same stories. Gachagua seeks new party amid falling out with Ruto. This is quite interesting. I see Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua is in the process of acquiring a new political party as his split with President William Ruto escalates. Nation has established that Mr. Gachagua is actively engaging officials of the New Democrats, TND, that's how they're calling it, as he scouts for an option away from President Ruto's United Democratic Alliance. This is a story on page 8. You might want to look at that. And moving on to the top page as well, I see inside Haiti Police Mission Command, only officers aged below 40 years will be among the 1,000 to be deployed. This is a story well covered on page 4. More on the same, it says Deputy Inspector General of Police Noor Gabo, who is being considered to head the Kenyan peacekeeping mission to Haiti, the nation has established. He will be assisted by a commander picked from either of the 3 allied units, the Rapid Deployment Unit, RDU, Anti-Stock Theft Unit, or General Service Unit, GSU, who will also lead the Kenyan boots on the ground in the war-torn Caribbean nation. And this is a story on page 4. Still on the top page, I see how caretaker failed in bid to take over German employer's property. Appellate judge orders eviction of a man who had attempted to shortchange his employer by claiming ownership of the multi-million shilling property in Malindi. Look at that story on page 3. And going to page 2, I see scrap useless university courses. Ruto urges Vice Chancellor's president wants students taking STEM programs to help grow the economy. This is interesting. Rationalization of programs. The VCs informed the president that the process of rationalizing university programs has begun. This follows the recommendations of the President Working Party on Education Reforms report, which observed that the expansion of university education has led to them offering similar courses and academic programs, but lacking any form of specialization. And you know, Gigi, when we were coming from high school ndio tulikuwa tunaambiwa utasoma kila kitu alafu uchague. But now we get to campus and we are studying so many things. We are not still able to specialize. So, you know, this team now, which is the Presidential Working Party on Education Reforms, is now working together to scrap off any courses that are repetitive because now they want to foster specialization. So this
But is that a good thing? Scrapping certain courses and then forcing people to pursue
to specialize.
Yeah, to
in a
specialize.
certain
Yeah.
area. Well, yes and no.
Yeah.
And I would say no,
Yeah.
first off, because even me as a journalist studying, I had to learn a little bit about public relations.
Yeah.
I learned editing.
Yeah.
I learned
So there's sort
a
of
bit
a
camera work.
diversification.
Yeah, so even when I come into the job
Yeah,
market,
yeah.
I'm able to diversify because again, the other challenge is the moment you're only good at one thing,
Exactly.
if it fails, that means you
Or there's
cannot
no
explore.
vacancies.
There's no vacancies.
Yeah.
And you can, and you know, nowadays for you to be employed, you have to make sure you can do more than just one thing.
Yeah,
Si
yeah.
kale ati wetu ni
Bana.
anchor.
No.
You have to know how to report, you
Yeah.
need to know how to edit, you need to
Camera
know
work.
camera work
Yes.
when the camera guy is not there and all that. But now the other side of it is you become a jack of all trades and a master of none. So umesoma kila kitu,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
there's nothing that you can do properly.
You are good at, yeah.
Yeah, so maybe
Okay.
it's a balance.
It's a balance. Okay, okay.
It's a balance.
All right.
But moving on to the next page here, that is on page 5. Treasury proposes budget cuts for Ruto, Gachagua, and Musalia. Funds to be reallocated to coffee reforms, tree planting, state visits. And I see here 10 shillings price jump over 400 gram of loaf for bread after imposition of 16% VAT. So tuseme saizi mkate itakuwa 75 because we've been buying it at 65.
65, yeah, yeah.
Itafika so tu. Hata thou usishtuke.
Yeah, kule ni ugali na muhogo.
Asubuhi. Good thing I'm losing taste for bread.
Yeah.
Like, I used to like
Me,
it, but nowadays...
the reason that was given for the increase in the VAT by the chair of the finance committee
Oh my
was just hilarious, to say the least.
Yeah.
Being nice to him,
Yeah.
it was just hilarious. So the reason they were doing so was because bread was a contributor of diabetes in Kenya.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Wow. I see.
Yeah, so but
No-
anyway,
no
yeah.
problem.
Ni sawa tu.
Hii nchi yetu hii.
Hii nchi yetu.
tuiombee tu.
Eh.
Hatuna choice.
Ni nchi ya ajabu.
But anyway, I would love to look at the parenting DN2 because I've seen something very, very interesting that has captured my attention.
Yeah.
How dad's presence or absence shapes a child. And I almost shed a tear looking at some of the reviews here
Yeah.
of girls who have not been able to get that father figure in their lives, showing them love. And look at this. As a result of not having her dad present, Joanne admits that she aimed to fulfill his presence in every relationship she got herself into. Goes ahead to say, especially in love, she says, I think all the relationships I got into were tragic because I was looking for love that I could have gotten from a male figure. So any act of kindness and warmth from a man I picked up as love, yet it was not. Goes ahead to say, I overdid it with the guys. I pay fare to visit them, dinners, just to show that I can make you love me. I can pay for it. Honestly, my self-love and value were distorted. These are the dangers of absentee fathers.
Yeah.
This is why we see women being promiscuous. We see women getting into drugs and in the wrong company. They have daddy issues. That is how they call it. They have daddy issues. They are looking for that love and they're craving
those
for it
relationships.
in those relationships.
Yeah.
And in return, men are taking advantage of our girls. And when we look at them, we will blame them, forgetting that there's an underlying
There's something
issue.
they missed, yeah.
But I love that I see some of the very good reviews here. Victoria Kaka is saying, we didn't share a birthday, just a birthday month, but he would postpone his celebration so that we could share a double party and cut the cake. This is a lady who will grow up not needing,
Yeah.
you know, and small acts of love. She will scrutinize it.
Yeah,
Acha
yeah,
nione kama huyu
yeah.
mtu ako serious ama
Yes.
ni vitu nilionyeshwa na babangu.
The standards.
The standards.
Yeah. So as a dad, you set the standards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
By doing it for your daughter, and so
Yes.
when these more things are coming, she will be like, "Hey, we did better than
Yeah,
this. So
than this.
you can't impress me by
Yeah.
buying this or showing me this
Yeah.
or taking me to these
Yeah.
places." No.
Pizza.
Yeah, pizza, cakes.
I know.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I see Joanne here saying, I don't know whether it was explained. What I know is that we escaped an abusive father and left in the middle of the night with a few friends who had come to help us. We have Wina Mwende here saying he will not always have money and I have to hustle to get some for myself. Also, he will not always be there to defend me, so I have to defend myself.
Yeah,
I mean, mean,
Yeah.
our girls are broken, so many of them, simply because of daddy issues and absentee fathers. Something that I discovered, I was in this Uber guy's kind. He was telling me about the cases he has to deal
Yeah.
with women, ladies who are 24 years and even younger, who have dealt with daddy issues. One time he told me that a lady paid him extra so that he could put a crown on his head on her birthday. So she was going to be received by her friends, and she said, the moment I come down, just bring this crown and put it on my head, because my dad would never do this.
Yeah.
So you can imagine her paying an Uber guy extra money. If this guy was bad, he would take advantage of her. That's why we see even our young ladies dating older men. We wonder what the problem is. We think it's money, but most of them are just dealing with daddy issues. And this is a story covered very well in the DN2 parenting. And I would encourage anyone and every parent to go through this, and especially the dads. The devil comes for those dads because he understands that if I bring down the head of this family, I have brought down the entire family.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
these are girls. We are not even going to go to the boys, because it's even worse. We see them struggling with addiction, beating women, not really being there for their family, simply because they did not really have a good father figure. This is a very important story to look at. But moving on, I see on the back page, governors accept 400 billion shillings as the equitable share. I see senators had increased the amount proposed by the Treasury by at least 24 billion shillings, citing housing levy and enhanced statutory deductions. Well, I mean, I wish it was possible for us to tell our employer that we need more money because of the money that is being cut off. Oh my goodness. But anyway, look at that story on the back page. And going to the sports, I see Conrad Hit squad fight for survival in qualifiers. Only 3 Kenyan boxers remain in contention for a slot in 2024 Paris. That is Olympics. And moving on to page 42, Witsel recalled to Belgium squad for continental show. See here, Couto is left out despite return at Real Madrid, as Tedesco names only 25 players. That's it.
All right.
For the daily.
Business Daily quickly. Doctors hit patients with cash bills on eTeams row. Medics snub new tax system on data privacy breaches. Patients with insurance cover face double jeopardy. Read that on the Business Daily. How Sidian Bank was forced to pay 444 million shillings in botched sale. Also on the front page and also on page 4, machinery lifts imports to 679 billion shillings in Q1. I also see Kind General plans 800 million shillings more in cost. And how a caretaker's plot to dispose a German of his property flopped. And then I like this, if you can be able to get the Business Daily, page 2 and 3 are spread as they explain inside the new taxes in Finance Bill 2024. And so they are highlighting some of the taxes that will be introduced in the Finance Bill 2024. Still proposal, but you can go through and check. Other than VAT on bread, what else will be, or rather is included in the Finance Bill of 2024? We have donations redefined. I see for those who have motor vehicles, they will be paying a 2.5%. That is the new motor vehicle tax. At 2.5% of the value of the vehicle will be collected by insurer at the point of issuing insurance. And the chair again of the finance bill, he said, if you don't want to pay that, don't drive your vehicle. That's what's happening in the dailies. Yeah, those. I'm just highlighting this to see the caliber of our leaders.
Yes.
Yeah, the love that they show us, the consideration they have for us. You know, they love us this much that they are telling us. They're even giving us advice on how to.
Sarcasm is your big
on how to avoid, the finance bill of 2024. Yeah, so thank you, Mr. Kemani, for that advice, the chair of the finance bill, the National Assembly finance bill. Yep, so that's what's happening in the dailies.
Yeah, and God is for us all.
Yeah.
Come on, I mean, all these things. They are hot air if you are in the kingdom
Yeah,
of God.
yeah.
You know, we are connected to a source that never runs
Yeah.
dry, and that is God.
Yes.
So don't let this news and all these advices and whatever
Ikushtue.
bring you down. No, your source is God, and He can literally cause money to come from other places aside from where you're depending on. So worry not, because God is on the throne. He's your shepherd. Yes.
All right, so we take a break for the video of the day.